Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Gohan's muscles erupt with his newly bridled power, and Cell sends his children to test a boy's strength all at once. The Cell Juniors reveal they too know the Z Fighter's special moves, but it's too little too late, and Gohan is prepared to destroy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everybody, wherever you guys are from, wherever you guys are at, or whatever time you're listening at this or listening to this. It's your boy Era, aka Drawkinglo. How you guys feeling today? I hope everybody's feeling great and good. Today. So we're gonna get a little bit more back in my backstory of like how I got into drawing. What was my first thing I draw? I don't know actually what got me into drawing. I just started drawing actually. Let's just start it off. Yeah, I just started drawing basically. The first thing I ever draw was Dragon Ball Z. As you guys can see, the character I'm starting drawing here is Goku. One of my favorite person to draw from Dragon Ball Z. That's where I started drawing. It's a picture I'm drawing here of Goku, and it's basically one of my favorite sagas, what they say in Dragon Ball Z. This is the Frieza saga where he first turned Super Saiyan. You know, I think that's one of the best sagas. I don't know, you guys could disagree to agree with me, but it's one of my favorite sagas. And Frieza's one of my favorite villains actually too. I actually have him on my Lexus keychain. You know, shout out Frieza. Damn stinking apes. But yeah, I was like in grade 1, grade 2, just drawing, and one of my best friends at the time, I can't remember his name. Me and him used to like draw Dragon Ball Z all the time, and like everybody used to gravitate to us, like the whole class, like, ooh, oh, that's cool, da 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 da. And like I was always so like jealous of like my best friend at the time, cause he could draw really good, and there was like things I couldn't do he could do, and there's things where I made it look good and he didn't make good or made it look good. I think that like started off my sense of competition, like just love the competition, like, oh, I could beat this person, I'm better than this person, like I need to get better than this person, you know. And everybody loved his drawings and all that. It felt like nobody loved mine, so I was just like, nah, I gotta get better, and I kept on drawing kept on drawing Dragon Ball Z. You know, at the time, that's the, I think that's, obviously we had other cartoons, but Dragon Ball Z was like the main one to draw. Like anybody who draw, like if you're a 90s kid, you draw Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, so from that I just start like indulging like other little characters I used to make, but they always look like Dragon Ball Z characters. So I used to make like gangster looking characters with like braids, jewelry, grills, and stuff like that. You know, no, my mom's a friggin' Christian lady, so back in the day she was just like, no, you can have dreads because only gunman and drug dealer braids, you know. And I was just like, oh, I always wanted braids, and like now I have braids, so. But yeah, I don't know. I just kept on drawing and just random stuff. Like I also like drawing back in the day graffiti. I always thought graffiti was really cool, and I was really into skateboarding and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just found it cool, like the wording and like even the spray paint. I think I even went through a phase where I was like walking around the whole neighborhood spray painting NWO and like spray painting random stuff on the wall. And I was just like, man, this doesn't look like the stuff I see on the trains and stuff like that. Then I don't know what happened. I just stopped drawing. Like people were like, oh, why'd you stop drawing? Like why don't you do this as a career? And I was just like, I never looked at it as a career. I just like I looked at it at the time as something I just did for fun or like as a hobby, and it didn't. I don't know. It wasn't a passion anymore. How I wanted it to be, and then I started getting into like other stuff like basketball. You know, I was big into skateboarding, as I was saying, and there's some other little things, you know, and I just completely stopped drawing for some odd reason, and I stopped drawing for a long time. Yeah, for sure, it was like a long time then. I don't know, one day I was here with my son, Elijah, and I was just like, too much electronics, man. We gotta get your butt off this electronics business. So I sat him down. I'm like, all right, you color. So he's coloring. And I was like, you know what? It's been a long time I haven't drawn, and that was maybe like when he was like 3 or 4. So we'll say like that was like maybe like 7 years ago. You know, I was sitting there, I was just drawing random people, drawing my boy Ace, drawing my boy Sean. I think I draw a picture of Andisha, I think. Um, and I was like, oh, I still kind of got it, whatever the case is. And then I just left it alone again. I just went on a hiatus. Then last year, I was just like sitting at work, basically, just bored, didn't know really what to do. Right? Orders were dead. You know, work was dead, and I was like, you know, let me go to the dollar store. Let me get some art supplies or whatever. And I started drawing again. I was just like, yeah, you know, I really miss this. You know, this is something I really want to do. And I started drawing different characters, start pushing the envelope. Because as I said, like I did when I first started out was graffiti, was Dragon Ball Z, and that was it, right? So then I start drawing different characters, Attack on Titan, real people as I was talking about, like my friends, Bleach, you know, other anime I start liking, right? And I was just like, wow, like I can actually push myself. Then I was kind of here and there with it through the whole last year, 2024. Then starting this year, you know, life took me as you know, life was rough for everybody. And I was doing a scaredy course for a week. And I was sitting beside this cool guy. His name is Tony, a real cool guy. And like I was sitting there, I was just like, you know, what am I gonna do on this lunch break? 'Cause I was taking the course serious. I'll turn off my phone. I'll listen to the teacher, the exam, whatever. Like I took it very serious. And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do on these breaks and stuff like that. I was just like, I'm gonna start drawing again. So I started drawing, and I was just like, I started drawing. He goes like, yo, cool. And I started pushing myself to do more. So I drew one character, right? I draw one character's head, and I draw a couple more characters, and it was the Koski characters. So I think the first person I draw was Utter Pain. I have to look at the picture, but then I randomly start adding more characters, and like before I could only draw one person. You know, if you watch how I'm drawing this picture right now with Goku, this is how I draw the like one big person on the paper. I never try to put multiple characters on the paper like a collage or anything. So I started drawing. Then the teacher, the instructor, he goes like, man, I really like Vegeta. I draw him a Vegeta. You know, then through the week, people are coming to me like, oh, you're really good. And like to me, I was always down to myself, like I don't think I'm that good. Pardon me. I don't really think I'm that good. And I was just like, then Tony goes like, bro, this takes practice, man. You're really good. You should put yourself on Fiverr and stuff. And I was like, yo, you know, and he's just giving me like compliments, whatever, and just boosting up my confidence. And I was like, all right. So I just thought about it. Boom, this podcast. So, but yeah, that's my story. You know, how I started drawing, right, Dragon Ball Z, and now where I'm here at now, where I'm just drawing different characters, and like just pushing the envelope. And as more further we go in this podcast, right, week after week, I'm gonna be drawing different things, and I'm gonna be asking you guys, you know, what do you guys want me to draw and stuff like that. One of my friends, Chantel, she's giving me input about last week's episode, and you know, you guys were cussing me about like the phone going off, the ding, the ding, the ding, the ding, the ding, you know. It kind of sounded like the Vibes Cartel song. You guys remember the Vibes Cartel song, the MSN song? I'll clip it in in this, but
Walk from Christian to send me a the number one and she gets stammer mama pandy.
it literally, when I was there talking, it sounded like the Vibes Cartel song, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But she sent me a picture of herself, so I think next week I'll draw that of her. I'm not really good at drawing people, but obviously, as I said, I'm pushing the envelope. But yeah, that was this is a little backstory of how I got into drawing and like what got me back into drawing, right? But today's topic, because every week we have a topic. So today's topic is about dreams, right? And your dreams right? Everybody has a dream to be somebody, be something, right? When I was a kid, I never had a dream to be anything, right? When they asked me, "Oh, what do you want to be? A carpenter? You want to be a fireman? You want to be a astronaut?" Everybody's just like, "Astronaut, this is that, da 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 da." When it came to me, I was just like, "Nah, I don't know." Everybody started laughing at me. I was like, "God damn!" But this is like a lot of people don't know. You know, when they're kids, they don't know. And even to this day, some people don't know what they want to be, right? And obviously, this drawing thing could have been my dream, or it could have turned into a dream, right? One of my dreams to become, but it didn't. I kind of gave up on it, and that's the thing. Like, you have all these things you like, whatever. These things could become a dream. If you don't have a dream, or if you do have a dream, just don't give up on it, because one day you could actually make it. You know, if you push yourself and believe in yourself, you could actually make it become true. And if you have good people around you, like my friend Tony, who was just like, "Yo, you gotta work on it, man. You'll get better. Your stuff is really good. Like, you should put yourself on Fiverr." You know, that will even boost you. Be like, "Yo, my dream is not just something in my head, you know, or something like when I'm snoring at nighttime, you know, thinking about this is something attainable, right?" Um, and like even like one of my dreams I want to accomplish, right? And I literally got this dream like a month ago or something like that because of Tony. Shout out Tony, man. He was telling me like, "Oh, I should go fly airplanes, whatever, because like I'm I'm adventurous, or you know, I'm a genuine junkie basically. You know, I love speed and stuff like that." He was telling me about the PPL license, right? The private pilot the private pilot license, right, to fly a plane. And I looked it up and I see the prices and I was like, "Oh man, 15 grand to fly to learn how to fly a plane, like the whole course, right?" But I was just like, "Yo, I'm making this my dream. I don't care if I'm 35 this year. I'm making this my dream, and I'm gonna get there. And one day I'm gonna be flying, you know, a bunch of my friends to Jamaica or something like that, or Quebec or something, you know." And like, I don't know. That's one of my dreams right now. But yeah, like, don't give up on your dream, you know. And why I say don't give up on your dreams, because this man who I'm gonna big up right now, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna probably butcher his name, Akira Teriyama. Hope I didn't butcher his name. You know, shout him out, because his dream was to make Dragon Ball Z, right? Probably as a child, he probably thought about this or made this thing, and like this was his dream to, like, you know, draw these characters, turn it to a manga, turn it to an anime. And if he never did that, a lot of us 90s kids wouldn't have had, you know, Dragon Ball Z growing up, right? I wouldn't have probably, if he gave up on his dream, I wouldn't be drawing here. You know, I wouldn't be drawing Dragon Ball Z. I wouldn't be drawing different characters, or even pushing myself to draw certain draw in total. You know, in general. I mean, yeah, like shout him out, man. Shout him out. You know, R.I.P. You know, he's a legend. He could draw himself. You know, had a phenomenal series: Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. You know, all you guys probably watched it. We're all 90s kids, most likely. But yeah, as I said, like, never give up on your dream, because your dream can make somebody else have a dream, or even be dreaming about having a dream, you know? So I know it's hard sometimes. Some people's dreams are not attainable. Like, I feel like my PPL license is not attainable, but I'm gonna get there. I swear. I'm gonna fly a plane. Trust me. I'm definitely gonna fly a plane. But yeah, enough of me rambling. I'll tell you guys just a little thing about the drawing. Basically, this is how I used to draw. As I said before, I never used to color. I used to just draw and like highlight with the pencil. So this is like my OG drawing. Goku, big big character on one paper, as I said before. Yeah, I hope you guys like my work. Each and every Tuesday, my podcast should be out on YouTube. I am trying new setups. I have a new setup right now. I need more lighting, so I don't know. This week I'm gonna go Valley Village, see if I could get a next next little stand or whatever and get a next light. Yeah, I'm fixing up my setup. I know you guys said like I should be on Twitch doing live. It's kind of hard to do that because I like to listen to music. Oh, I forgot. The music of the day. Let me not forget about it because my music of the day, it was actually the Migos. I was just bumping the Migos. I was actually listening to the No Label 2 album, one of the most firest album. Yeah, from the Migos. No Label 2, that's one of their biggest like albums. My favorite track off the No Label 2 is Freak No More. But you guys let me know what's your guys' favorite Migos song. You know what I mean? Like it could be from this album or it could be from whatever track, whatever your favorite track is. And R.I.P. Takeoff. A sad day when that guy dropped. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, it'll be hard. It's hard for me to do drawing, talking, because I like to listen to music and draw. So, but it's an idea. I'll be finding a setup where it works out. You know what I mean? And there was one more person I want to big up from last year. What really got me back into drawing. Big shout outs to Dwayne. You know what I mean? Because he could draw too, and he draws phenomenal. Like he draws like live action, like real pictures, and it looks like the drawing is coming off the page. And he's like, oh, I like your drawing too. It's like you draw like cartoonish or whatever the case. And I was like, yeah, I do. He draws more realistic stuff. And shout out Dwayne. He's the one who kind of was like, yo, I'm gonna get back to drawing. I'm gonna get to the place I want to get to. Yeah, it's basically the end of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in or listening. I hope you guys enjoy the content today. And my slogan, as our daddy says, Vibes Cartel says, what's under our nose? And I'm out.
Two-Face, that's a shit I don't do. Switch up, that's a shit I don't do. Two-Face, that's a shit I don't do. Switch up, that's a shit I don't do. Two-Face, that's a shit I don't do. Switch up, that's a shit I don't do. Two-Face, that's a shit I don't do. Switch up, that's a shit I don't do. Niggas say they with the shit, but they're never with the shit. Tryna run up on me, bitch, I gotta keep a click. It's block forever, shout out to my niggas on the strip. I'm the one who paved the way, I had to go and hit a lick. I be on that gangster shit, you be on that sucker shit. Zodi move like murder man, I had to go and kill a snitch. Tell them niggas eat a dick, tell them bitches eat a dick. Call me Zodi Black Mamba, I be on that liquor shit.